This truly is a wonderful day for us here at the Cathedral Parish, having three of our wonderful young people making their first communion. In fact, I'd like to invite them up right now for the homily, so if they could come and have a seat on our steps here. So we have Gratian and Nathan and Stella who are making their first communion today. This gives me a chance to show you off how nice you look, right? Yeah, and also how enthusiastic you are, right? Yeah. You pretty excited about First Communion today? If you had to put it on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 would be low, not very excited, and 10 would be very, very excited, what number would you give to how excited you are? How about you, Stella? 10, wow, Gratian. 9, pretty close, and Nathan? 8. So you guys are pretty excited, yeah. That's pretty high on the meter, right? So First Communion is an 8 or a 9. Have you ever been a 10 before? I'd love to know for what. But that's okay. You're all very excited, right? Yeah, that's really neat. We are too. We're going to share your enthusiasm and your joy today. Now, when you think about what's making you excited and enthusiastic and happy, what are you most looking forward to today in First Communion? What do you like most about making your First Communion? So, Stella, you say about seeing your family. That's a neat part of First Communion, isn't it? When you get family together to celebrate, it shows how much they want to share your joy too, right? And isn't that what communion does too, right? It forms us into a communion, a community, right? So that's what we do. We celebrate the Eucharist. So of course we're going to get our family together, right? Because we're all part of God's family. That's great. How about you, Grace and I? What are you looking most forward to? Going to church, that's neat, yeah. And it's a little bit different this time, isn't it? You're used to going to church, but now you get to come up for communion, right? That makes it very, very special. How about you, Nathan? What are you most looking forward to? Seeing your family too, and coming here too. You had like a little bit of both, right? Yeah, that's pretty neat. Boy, those are great reasons for celebrating First Communion. I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story about a boy in one of my parishes and what he was looking forward to for First Communion. This is years ago. And I was watching, he came up for Holy Communion. His name was Gregory. And when he went back to his place with his family, he kneeled down to pray. But he did something different. Usually people fold their hands, right? When they pray. He didn't. He put his hands over his face like that. It's like he was hiding his face. And I would glance over at him, while I was giving out the Holy Communion to the other First Communicants and their family, and I was a little worried. I thought, well, is he upset or is he sad? Why is he hiding his face like that behind his hands? And so when Mass was over, I pulled him aside and I talked to him. I said, Gregory, you had your hands over your face. Were you sad? Or something upsetting you? He goes, oh, no, not at all. And I said, well, what were you doing? He says, well, I was talking to Jesus. I said, oh, you were praying? Were you saying prayers? He says, well, not quite. I said, oh, really? What were you talking to Jesus about? Well, he said, he's my friend. So I talk to him like I do to my friends. He said, first of all, I told him some new knock-knock jokes that I learned in my joke book. He said, and so I started out. Then I talked to him about my t-ball team and how we were doing. And then he said, I like to sing. So then I sang a little bit of Give Me a Home Where the Buffalo Roam, Home on the Range. He said, I needed to cover my face for that part so that other people didn't hear. He said, and then after the end of that, he said, I told him I loved him, and I said, Jesus, thank you for being my best friend. And then he turned to me, Gregory did, and he said, well, Father Jeff, is it okay if I talk to Jesus like that? And I said, yeah, it sure is. It sure is. He's your best friend. There's a lot of reasons why Holy Communion is special. But I think Gregory taught us that one of the reasons it's special is we get to meet our best friend in a very, very special way. Granted, we know Jesus is with us all the time, but he's never closer to us than when we receive Holy Communion. He's in us, right? He's literally within us. And we can talk to our best friend, spend time, special time with our best friend every time we come to communion. And he is our best friend, right? We heard that in the gospel. Jesus said, "You are my friends." He said, "I don't treat you like servants, slaves." He said, "No, you're my friends." And he said he would do anything for us, even give his life for us. He'd do anything for us. He's that much of our friend. Which is why Holy Communion is special, and why this day is special. Because you're going to meet in a most wonderful way your best friend. He'll be right in you. You can talk to him like your best buddy. But it also teaches us a lesson that while your first Holy Communion is a very special day, even more special than that is your second Holy Communion. And more special than your second is your third, and more special than your third is your fourth, and so on. Because each time you come to communion, you get to know your best friend even better. So much so that when you live a life of doing this, coming and coming and coming and sharing that special time with Jesus, your best friend, you become more and more like him, and you can live in love like he does. So we are so proud of you today, and we're so excited for you. So as you go back to your families, we're all going to give you a nice round of applause, okay? You can go back.